Hey guys, how you doing? Chris Atchison here from the Southwest Florida RE Group team leader and powered by MVP Realty. We're the largest and most successful team in Southwest Florida. Feel free to give me a call anytime if you have any real estate related questions. Just wanted to do a quick video today on geared towards sellers in general, and really why is it such a big deal to make sure that you don't list your property at too high of a list price. What are the negative results, outcomes that come from starting off with listing a property way above market value, right? Naturally, people think that if I list it for higher, there's more likely a chance that I'll get more money. That can't be the furthest thing from the truth. So I'm going to go through 6, 7, 8, 9 reasons why you shouldn't list your property too high, why you want to list it right at or just above fair market value, and why, if you do that, you will get the most amount of money in the smallest amount of time. Okay, so the first reason is buyers are savvy, right? And they have realtors that are representing them that are savvy as well. They've done their homework, they've done their research, and if they see that the property is listed too high, they're not even going to come look at it. So what that means is your foot traffic, which is it's the most important, the first 2 weeks to 30 days, that is the key time to get that high volume of foot traffic because the days on market is small. And I'll get more to that later. Now, if you waste that first 30 days, you're in trouble, right? If you have it listed too high. So yeah, buyers are savvy and they know what they're doing. And as I mentioned before, in the first 30 days, the seller is basically in the driver's seat with leverage, negotiations, offers, whatever you want to call it. The first 30 days is, when the market views the property as being fresh, right? It's exciting. The property comes out on the MLS. Everybody that has that criteria gets an email alert with this property that's brand new. Everybody wants to look at it, check out the pictures. Typically the best scenario is you want to get multiple offers within the first 30 days in order to drive up the price. So you collect the competition and then you put them against each other and you drive up the price from there, right? And that typically happens within the first 30 days on a hot property, but it'll only happen if the property is listed at fair market value or a little bit higher, right? So some other things that happen when you list your home for too high of a list price is you're effectively telling sellers to go look at other listings in that community or that same building, right? If you're talking about New York City. So you're essentially driving foot traffic away from your own listing simply because of the price, right? People have their criteria set in the MLS and Trulia and Realtor.com and all these databases that, a lot of them aren't so great. MLS is the best. And once that new property comes out, it's going to shoot out an email to everyone, right? And they're going to see the price. They're going to look at everything listed in that community and compare the price one for one, right? And if there's not huge, outstanding, ridiculously glamorous, nice finishes throughout the entire place, they don't care that it's only $10,000 higher list price, right? They're looking at the square footage. They're looking at where it is, what community, and the price. And if it's listed too high, they won't even look at it. Another, I guess we're on like the fourth one, but the fourth reason you don't want to do this is a lot of sellers think that the best way to go about selling to get yield the highest sale price is, you price it high and leave room for negotiation, right? That sounds, very logical. The problem is, like I mentioned before, with the database criteria pulling these listings and sending them automatically to sellers, et cetera, is, your home won't even come up in the buyer's search, right? So the whole idea that you're going to leave room for negotiation, that is a prerequisite to that, I should say, is to actually have an offer on the property. You can't negotiate unless you have an offer, and you can't get an offer unless you have people going to your home to view it. You don't have people going to your home to view it, you will not get an offer. How do you get people to go to your home to then write an offer? Possibly by having it listed at the appropriate fair market value, okay? The other thing I wanted to talk about is this happens frequently, especially with some newer listing agents. Sellers have to be aware of what we call a sign agent. So a sign agent is basically an agent that simply tells sellers exactly what they want to hear and tells them that their home is worth, whatever the seller thinks it's worth. But let's just say they think, the house is actually worth 800,000. The listing agent goes in there and says, you know what? I think we get $1 million for this house, right? Oh, I'm the seller. That's great news. Wow, that's fantastic. Let's list it for $1 million. What happens? It doesn't sell. Why did the listing agent decide to do that? Well, they probably cut corners on their advertising, and they want to put their sign in the front yard and be associated with having that listing for marketing purposes. They want to use that listing to find buyers for other properties. They might only put in, say $1,000, $2,000 in marketing budget, right? That doesn't matter because they're going to get 3 other buyers from having that listing in the first place, and they're going to look more established because they have a listing. Okay. Obviously, the last thing is, well, there's 2 more things, I guess. If you have the home listed too high from the get-go, the listing is going to get stale. What does that mean? It means that days on market keeps going up. And I can tell you from working with hundreds of buyers that when they see a high days on market, and this goes for agents or realtors, buyer agents or realtors. I mean, buyer agents or buyers. If they see a high days on market, they're going to consider that listing as being stale, and they're going to think either that thing is overpriced and that seller is being unrealistic, and nobody can come to terms with them, so I'm not even going to go look at the house, or they just think that there's something wrong with the house that you can't tell from the pictures or the description, or the permits online, or the appraisals website, right? So high days on market, people avoid that, and agents will actually set up searches to exclude things that are listed for more than, say, the market average, right? So that's something to be aware of. And then the last reason, simple. Let's just say that you have a house, say its fair market value is 500,000, or say 400,000. And someone comes along and says, hey, I'm going to buy your house for 500,000. I'm going to get a conventional loan, right? Now, in different parts of the country, there's a lot more mortgages versus cash deals. Different price points have different norms. Let's just say 75% of all deals in Naples are done with an FHA, USDA, VA, or conventional loan. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I could let you know if you ask. I'll look it up. So if you're one of those 75% of the buyers out there and you need a loan to buy the house, and you come in and say, hey, this $400,000 house, I'm going to give you $500 for it because I just really want it. Guess what? The second that my appraiser goes in and appraises the house, the appraiser is going to say, hey, this is only worth $400,000. We're only going to lend you to buy a house that's listed at $400,000. We're not going to lend you enough to be able to buy a $500,000 house. So then what happens is the seller ends up dropping the price anyway. And by this point, it's probably, 100 days on market. If the seller had just listed it right at the appraised value or a hair above it, they would have been, had the place sold. They would have avoided all the taxes, all the carrying costs, HOA fees, condo fees that they carry throughout those several months of trying to sell the place. And they would have just sold it like that. So those are the main reasons. I kind of mixed them up a little bit, but in summary, it's essential that you list your house aggressively, because scientific studies have been done to see what the best yield is as quickly as possible. And typically it's about 3, 4, 5%. In Southwest Florida, it's about 3 to 5% more than the fair market value is what you should list your house at. Okay. Depends on competition. It depends on inventory, a lot of other things, but that's a rough ballpark guesstimate. And nobody is going to pay more for a house than what the fair market value is. And if they do, it's not going to be by much, right? That's all for today, guys. Thanks a lot for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. My number is 609-634-4686. 4419. And you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and on my website at naples239homes.com. Take care.